Okay, folks, see if we get this configured in the correct way. There we go, something like that. All right. We're the last things I worked on. I left them in the garage, I guess, to dry. So, all right. As typical, I am encroached here with all of my usual suspects. Let's get this area picked up a little bit, and we can work on the next clown car. We have 1-5 done. This one only has these 2 pieces on it. Oh, I'm sorry, these 3 pieces on it. That bomb's got to be red. It's got to be a big red ass bomb. I have a big Mickey Mouse glove looking thing on here. I'm probably going to do it white, just like you'll see that. You'll immediately know what it is. It's a 3-finger grabber. And then we have the Horn MG. Horn MG is going to go something like that, where you can use the side of it. It's just kind of squished up against the side of the vehicle. Well, a lot of these things, I just don't really feel the need to glue them down. You know, something like this, let's put a little stick-em on here. And bam, you're done. And something like this. Bam, you're done. This one will have to glue on. But that's basically how that one's configured. It looks like a suicide vehicle, but it's really not. It's just an explosive ram. I know. It's a hokey game. You know? It's a hokey game. Good morning. So that's what we need to do on this one. This one has these 3 pieces, and obviously we need to paint them and weather them, etc. The Mini Cooper actually has a lot of stuff to do. Hanbo here. Hanbo doesn't really have anything on it other than a mallet. A mallet and the lights and stuff that we need to do on here. I don't know what color we're going to make these little boxes of things that come on here. But this is going to be, I'm probably going to go ahead and put metallic on here, even if we come back and do an overbrush on with some blue to make it tie in with the wheels. Something like that. Out of all the weird, yeah, this shit's weird. It's just a goofy ass game. It's just, well, this team is extra goofy. Extra goofy, you know? Oh, a lot of weird stuff. Well, that's cool. So, what is this? Well, let me show you what this is. This is Hot Wheels that we're converting for a game called Gaslands, and I have many of them done. And it's a Car Wars type apocalyptic. Some people call it Mad Max, but you know, all of these are Hot Wheels cars. They've all been modified. It just happens to be that this is some clown cars. No, they're not really, like I've got one vehicle. It's out in the garage or whatever, drying. It's the one that's on the cover picture. That actually has a pie. It's not really a pie. I mean, it's shaped like one, but in the game it'll be a mortar. Like it's real ordnance, So yeah, almost like a twisted metal. Exactly. Let me show you the cover of the rules here. It's available from Osprey, and you play it like if you know what twisted metal is, you probably know what X-wing is. This is the name. This is the rules here, and you can actually play them with modified vehicles. And there's some background information here. Yeah, I don't really like the background that the author did, but you can make whatever you want. You could, do things from movies, that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's cool. It's super cheap. It's like, you go to the grocery store or wherever and build stuff for it. And then you can make, templates like, the drop glue and that kind of stuff for it. So it's neat, and they're cheap. I mean, that's not the main reason I'm doing it, but it never hurts, So, and it's a lot of fun, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I don't know I don't know what you clicked on this morning, but yeah, there's a lot of useless stuff on YouTube. There's a lot of people that are like, "Hey, watch me dance." I'm not a dancer. I paint shit. So, thanks for stopping by, man. Appreciate it. But yeah, these are actually 3D printed parts, and this is actually the vehicle that it was an ice cream truck. Actually, I've not played the Twisted Metal game, but I didn't know there was actually a show for it. I've almost finished the first season. It's all right. I mean, it is what it is. The first episode started really strong, and it kind of like petered out after that for me. But but it's fun. I'm a model builder, miniature painter, so this is like right down my alley. So the clown car set actually comes from. This is from 2003. This Hot Wheels set comes with 5 vehicles. I got one complete. There's ice cream truck. This is a funny car, which is going to be treated like a performance vehicle in the game, not a dragster. A dragster is extremely expendable. It's almost like basically a fire and forget missile. We got a van here, and we have the Mini Cooper, which of course the Mini Cooper will have the most people in it. That's the whole point of it. Let's see. There's one lady literally sleeping. There's people are into that. Is she at least attractive? Ever done a Gundam? No, but I've talked about. If you guys are familiar with BattleTech, which most of you guys are, I played it way back in the day. I would love to do a Transformers game based on BattleTech. From like the 1980s Transformers type game. But somebody actually 3D prints the stuff, and it looks really good. But they're pretty expensive each one. So, lady sleeping, Mini Cooper. Yeah, well they have. So here's the thing. There's all kinds of really. This is how this comes. I mean, the only thing I added to it is I clear coated it in flat, basically so it doesn't have any shine. And by doing that, it basically gives it a. Instead of it being smooth, it's kind of like a sandpaper appearance. Very, very little, but it's enough that when you give like a brown wash to kind of weather it a little bit, I don't know if you can tell, but there's a little bit of a brown wash in here. You know, we end up doing a lot more to it than that, but that's kind of the starting point. There's no point in stripping these graphics off. I mean, they're, you know, they work, you know. And yeah, the Mini Cooper's got all kinds of stuff on it. What's it got on here? Fits and Giggle. So I guess it's a clown. It is a clown slash monkey outfit. Mobile Clown School. Get in, get out. Get in what? Get in, pay, get out funny. Okay, the pay is hard, kind of hard to read because it's got. Come on, focus. There we go. Maximum capacity 35. Yeah, you can't get 35 guys in here. The game only allows you to double the crew of this normal. This is considered a buggy class vehicle. So it's going to be doubled to, to 4. There's going to be 4 people in there. I wish I could make it like 16 or something, but um, this is definitely a humor team. It's goofy, but you play it seriously. And they're basically maniacs. They're criminal. Everybody in this game is basically a criminal. Some don't have a whole lot of modifications to them. Let me pull one of these out. Let me pull Poppycock out of here. Show you a couple stuff. Let's see if I can open this and not have this come off the wall. Okay, Poppycock is basically this is a Jaguar. This is the color it came in. All we did is we added some armor plates here to block it off a little bit. There was some logos here or something. I decided to put some armor plates to cover that over. Color matched it. Added some armor plates to the back. Painted the lights because the lights aren't painted. Added a little Union Jack there, hand painted. And added a Vickers machine gun. So this was pretty minimalist modification. It can be a solo game, but it's really meant for everybody will run 1 or 2 cars kind of thing. And then you have something that'd be like really modified. Like this is an old Matchbox dump truck that we just, it's apocalyptic and we got blood. And this is the only one that actually has blood on it because, that's what it's made for is to, got a chain gun on the top. Yeah, it's a fun, cheap thing. I got this for $1 out of basically the junk pile at a secondhand store. So, and then a lot of these vehicles always like to pull this one out. This is a Ford Focus. It already came in this color. It came with the RS logo. It came with this Ford logo. But for whatever reason, they didn't paint the lights. The whole front of this vehicle was green. I mean, obviously it had the striping and everything, but all this was green. Like these vehicles have really good detail. The tail lights, all that was green. The RS logo was already on it. It's 3-dimensional. Like it's cast into the model. Wasn't painted. Like why wouldn't you paint that? So all I did was add a laser to the top of it. That's it. So this is laser focused. That's what this vehicle is. Didn't do anything other than that. Weather it. There's a lot of detail on these, Hot Wheels cars. Took it apart, put it back together with hot glue gun. It's a great little hobby. And sometimes you'll be in the store and you'll be like, oh, that'd make a great vehicle. Here's a perfect example one right here. I saw this, and as ridiculous as this seems, I'm like, oh, I got to do this. I got to make this the Bimbo Bomber. So this is a Barbie Dreamcatcher, whatever the hell it's called, Dream something or another. And we added armored plates to it, added a mortar to it. I don't randomly add things to it. Like it's like, oh, a mortar would be cool. It's got to work within the point value of the game. You got to build them. Everything has a point value to it. But, like this ladder and all this stuff back here, it's all molded in pink. Like none of it's painted. It's cast into it. Like, so just paint it, man. These things have some, let's see if I can find the focus point on this. Here we go. There we go. They got really good detail on them. Just a matter of painting it to make all the stuff stand out. So. It's a fun little game. Fun game. And I've only been doing this for, well, I've only been doing this for about 3 months. I've been painting a lot longer. It's like, man, you look, this stuff looks really good after 3 months. No, 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 no. This man's war. One man fire team. Put me in, coach. So this is, tongue in cheek, you know, gameplay kind of stuff. La luz de tu mirada. The light of your sight. La luz de tu mirada. No, it actually means something else. I just don't remember what it is. But literally, that's what it means. So that's what we have here. This is actually the Hot Wheels made a set of 5. They're called Crazed Clowns. This is 4 of the vehicles. The fifth one's done, or really the first one's done. And there is another set of 5 that I don't have. That are, if you can imagine that, more weird. These aren't that weird. They just have weird graphics, and I'm gonna put, like, this is like, there's a guy at 3D prints this, and it's like a clown hand. So this is going to be treated like a grabber arm. This is not intended to be. This looks like something that would be off of like a Who Framed Roger Rabbit or something like that, right? Like it'd be like cartoons that would be drawn on top of them. That's not really what this is. It's, but it definitely has that appearance. So I think with all that said, I'm going to go ahead and try to finish this little van here that we've added these extra parts in black. There's actually a minigun in here. I put it in on a pedestal. So I'm not going to spend a lot of effort on painting things on the inside just because it's not going to be visible. It's down here in the shadows and everything. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these metal things and I'm going to paint them in a metallic color. We're going to do that, even though we're going to paint over them in some of like this, a similar blue, like it's been, like it's come off. All right. So we're going to come over here and we're going to grab, of the many metallic colors, we're going to grab the darkest one. I start with the darkest and work my way up. Iron Warriors is what this one's called. This is Games Workshop paint. Most of my paint's Vallejo, but I like the Games Workshop metals. They seem to work pretty well for me. Yeah, so I'm on vacation for a while, but I got to go into work for one day tomorrow. So I'm out of days. Otherwise, I wouldn't work tomorrow either. It's a pretty slow day at the office, but so we will not be doing a show tomorrow morning. It's probably the only day we won't. And I generally, for those of you guys that are new, I generally don't do any hobbying unless I'm on camera. It just forces me to stay on track. Let's see if I can find a brush I haven't abused too much. None of these brushes are expensive, but okay. Something like this would probably be good. And we're just going to gently dry brush over it. It's like a concession stand or something like that. Well, it's a food truck. Now, if I absolutely did not like the graphics, yeah, I'd paint over them. But I like these graphics. They work. They work with the whole, lunatic clowns. They're just criminals. There's no demonic shit here. It's what it is supposed to be, like I've never seen it, but it's supposed to be like a demon or something, right? Yeah. Demons don't look like clowns, man. They look like demons. Okay, so that's all these little grading things. I'm going to come over here to this door. And we're going to go over the door here. I'm going to go over the whole thing. Now these windows, and we also need this ram, the ram that's going to be on the front of this. This is going to be painted metal. Somehow the phone's not keeping up with the computer. That's why I have the computer up. Love detail on these things. The games are... No, I guess the phone, yeah, the phone is out of sequence with the computer. I don't know. These things get... This filming thing is glitchy. Woman sleeping, huh? And you know, probably somebody's watching that for hours. That's the real creepy part. Okay, so we still have some of the black left on it. All right, this part up here, this is like basically a carrier for these little boxes. These little boxes, little jack-in-the-boxes that get treated like turrets. Now, I'm not necessarily coming up with these type of weapons. They're already in the game. So I see something like this that's 3D printed, and I look at it, I'm like, all right, what thing in the game could this represent? I'm like, oh, okay, turrets. They drop them off. And I actually have the loose little ones, and they're little turrets. So, but I want this carrier to be similar in color to this green here. I would like to think that they added this on top of the truck, and then just kind of fit in there. So this bracket up here and the slide is going to be in this green color and make it match. So the only thing we've got left on this metallic color is we have the front of the grill here, and like the bumpers and stuff. So we're going to go ahead and do that as well. And then while this dries a little bit, we're going to go mix us up a green and try to do a color match in here on that green. Oh, and this thing came off because it's hot glue gunned in, not epoxied. Well, I think that's the sign here that we need to epoxy that. We don't want that thing to fall apart on us. We're in the middle of gameplay or something like that. Just kind of a simple dry brush on that. Okay. And then some of this little board here is going to be showing when we close this thing up. Yeah, this primer is not very durable at all. This is hot glue gunned down. I'm going to go ahead and take, and this is what's great about the hot glue gun. Like, if it falls apart, you just take that little piece off, and it's good to go. It's not like it's super glue and you got to rip all that stuff off. So that didn't really work how we wanted it to. And paint this minigun that's inside in case you end up catching a glance at it. It's all metal colored. We're not done with it. It's not, you know, I don't have a problem dry brushing, but I don't just use one color for dry brushing. You got to make it a little bit more complicated than that so that it adds some depth. All right, I'm going to set this aside for a moment, and we're going to go over and see if we can't color match something that's close to the green. Okay, so it's a little candy apple green, probably if I had to describe this color to somebody. And I'm probably going to have to do a blend. It's similar to the color on the Ford Escort. And I believe the Ford Escort used a mixture of a couple different things. I believe most of it was this. I thought it might have had some of this in it, but I don't think it does at all. I think it's this, and this color does not blend well. Okay, it's golden olive and lime green mixed together. And then we'll have a little bit of metallic to it because this has some metallic sheen. Now it's going to look slightly different because this whole thing has gotten a brown wash on it. So let's get a little bit of water here. I don't care how dirty it is. It's pretty dirty. We need to clean our brush container out. All right, we'll get a little bit of this lime green. And I'm already going to warn you, this is not going to cover well. That's okay. I had many layers. Patience is not an issue. Oh, I guess the top of this got dry rotted. So I didn't even have a top on here. Well, let's mix this up good and then we'll try to scoop some of it out. Some of these Vallejo paints I've had so long, and I think they were sitting on a shelf for so long. This shelf might have been like in the sun, where some of the properties of this plastic broke down and they became very brittle. Yeah, like something like this. We just need a little bit like that. Let's close this back up. Let's put this color, where's the other green? Let's put that away as well. And let's get a little bit of black. Because once we find the color, we'll darken it a little bit to add some shadows to it before we bring it all the way up. All right, now let's grab a paintbrush that isn't imprecise, but it's not one of my better ones. And let's see how close we can get. Let me see if I can move this a little bit. Let me wait for this view to catch up here. About a 20 or 30 second delay. Okay, perfect. That's about where we need it. All right, so we're going to add we're going to make what I like to call the core color, which is the base color. And it doesn't have any metallic in it right now, but it will. So I like to pick a spot down here that's probably not going to mess with anything. And it probably has a little bit more of that in it. This has to be kind of close that I'm happy with it. And then just had kind of a neutral metallic color. What's this? Iron Breaker. This is almost all the way. Yeah, this craft paint, as soon as you open it, you always end up getting like paint on you just by the nature of the closing device on there. It just gets too close. I guess my thumbs are too damn fat. Man, you don't want to. I just opened this up the other day. We don't need much of that. Just enough to add a little bit of metallicness to it. I mean, that's pretty close. So we're going to take this relatively happy with that. Add a little bit of black to it for the shadows. And then we're going to paint this entire frame in this color. And this is going to take a little bit of time to dry. Yeah, it's unusual I even have to work between that we're even open in between Christmas and New Year's. But luckily, I wasn't traveling anywhere, so it didn't really matter. Yeah, everybody seems to have played Twisted Metal. Apparently, it's a really popular game. Apparently, I never played it because it's a PlayStation only, so I don't have a PlayStation. Cracking a problem with Vallejo bottles. Yeah, I think these are just. For first of all, I bought these. All these paints that I have, um, Jeffrey. I pretty much they were the first thing that I bought with all of my first sales ever on eBay. I sold stuff like my old BattleTech, Micro Armor, stuff I hadn't used in like 15 years at that point. And I sold them in the early 2000s. In my early 2000, I mean like 2003, 2004. And at that time, I got them from Brookhurst Hobbies, who used to import everything here in the United States. Lots of stuff. So anything that was like all my 20 millimeter stuff that I got, it was all from Brookhurst Hobbies. MMS and, Cromwell stuff. All of it was from Brookhurst Hobbies. And I somehow I found out that there were these eyedropper paints, right? Which at that time was kind of a new thing. Nobody else was doing them that I was aware of. And I'm like, well, that's great because I use very little paint. Let's go to that. And the paint was good. Like, we just buy the whole set. And, I mean, they're $2 or $3 a pop a piece. So but I sold all my stuff. So they basically were quote unquote free. And some of the colors, I think, were already old when I got them. So some colors like this one, I can't even tell I don't know whether this is elf flesh or whatever this is. Um, can I make out what this is? Light, light flesh. Yeah, this is not light flesh. This is like freaking like off white with a tiny little bit of pink in it. Some color like this, like I already got it and it was already old. You could even tell that like this bottle is like yellowed, So I don't know how durable this is. I've probably only pulled the paint out of this paint thing once in 20 something years. It's just not a very useful color, but I got them just because I wanted to get one of every color, you know. And it wasn't because I paint triad wise. It's just kind of like a starting point. Like, okay, I want it to be this color, so let me just start with a base. And some colors I just haven't used very much. That's one of them. And the pinks I've used actually more than that because I've painted a fair number of pink things. But, and believe it or not, the pink stuff looks pretty good. So, some of the blues just hadn't been used very much. But I ended up getting the whole set. And when I got them already, some of them had already been clumpy. Whether they'd been sitting on the shelf for a long time or they were maybe an early Vallejo. I'm not really sure when Vallejo went into business. I didn't find out about them until about 2003, 2004, something like that. Just give this another coating. This is what I was talking about. If you have something where it's difficult for the paint to attach, make make a mix of paint that's a little thicker. I mean, you have to thin it down with water so it's smooth, so it applies smoothly. And then instead of like pushing down on it, just kind of barely touch the surface. And because of surface tension, it'll actually leave the paint on there. Not so much that it'll pool on there, but that seems to work for me. See, almost like I'm stippling it. And I'm not really worried about coverage that much because we're going to add multiple layers anyways. But so that's my story with the Vallejo paints and why I have so many of them. And, you know, since then, lots of people make eyedropper bottle paints. Like the Games Workshop paint, I really like it. I just don't like this container that you have to clean from time to time, or it gets like gummed up and you don't get a good seal on it. You know, it's not great. I mean, the paint's pretty good, but they tend to have a shelf life about 4 years once opened. Well, yeah, I've never had little nozzles like dry rot out, and I've had 4 or 5 of them that have done that, and it's colors I have not used much, and it's colors that I bought initially. I mean, this mithril silver. Where's my mithril silver? Here. I mean, this is original one, probably 88, 89, 90. I still have about half of it. I have some of these aren't even opened yet. I think I got them hand me down from somebody. I've got a couple colors I think I have a shadow gray. It's never been opened. You know, and this is the one that has been opened, and it's 3/4 of the way full. And I have another one unopened. It's a decent color. Fucker. All right. Yeah, I totally missed this up here. Let's mix up another batch. I get a lot of practice mixing shit, so. And a little bit of water, just get it to blend well, smooth. Not get lumpy when you apply it. That's the main thing. I don't mind it being a bunch of different coats. I don't want any of the coats being lumpy. That's a no-no. I'm going to go ahead and paint this green, even though it's going to get worn out looking by these little boxes sliding off of there. Yeah, I don't like stuff that you make a mess when you're not trying to make a mess. Like, for instance, I like this paint, but like when I just used this recently, you make sure it's in the frame. I actually can't tell. When I used this recently, you can see that some of this paint gooped in here. I didn't even put paint on the inside there, but just the action of opening this up made some of this paint fill in the bottom of the crack here. And then by closing it, it squished out here. And I didn't even want any of the paint to even go in there to begin with. So design flaw, you know. And I watched a video one time of this guy that had bought all these extra bottles and took all their Games Workshop paints and put them in bottles. And I'm like, all right, that might be a good idea. I did that one time because I had to thin this paint down enough to get it all out that by the time I put it in the eyedropper, the paint was so wet that you made a mess every time you opened it. You know, you'd like shake it and then you'd open the top and there'd be paint all over the inside. Look, I even got, see, damn got paint on myself. And you know, it's easy cleanup, but you could grab something and then the next thing you know, you've got paint that you have to remove off of something. Yeah, I like these, but that closing device just doesn't work. And I clean them from time to time, but Jesus, I mean, I'm not going to need to clean it every single time. It's like the whole thing with the airbrush. I don't clean my airbrush completely every time I use it, or I wouldn't get anything done. You know, what are you doing today? Cleaning my airbrush again. You know, 5 minutes of use and 20 minutes of cleaning. Like, that's not very efficient. Like, every time you go to work, when you come back, you got to give your car an oil change. It doesn't make sense, you know. It's got to find some middle ground. So one of these days, I'm gonna go back and we're gonna do some tanks. And when I mean some tanks, we're gonna build some World War II tanks. Probably those T-34s. I don't know when it is. Well, and one of these days, I mean, before I go back to work in January, I got to go work tomorrow, but then I'm off again. So one of these days, we'll put all those tanks together. Not all of them, but You know, the T-34s. So I got a hankering for some sprue, for messing around with some sprue goo. All right, so we'll just cover this again, and this will be the final cover of this, and then we'll start lightening this up. Even though we're not going to play a tank game like anytime soon or even ever. It's just too easy to play this to just fool around with something else. Especially when I'm doing all the heavy lifting. I put ball bearings in the bottles to keep the paint soft. Yeah, I do too, but it doesn't help sometimes. A couple of these Games Workshop actually have ball bearing in them. Well, not ball bearings, the ones that are the overpriced things from Army Painter that are supposedly stainless. 100 of them come in there or whatever. I got most of them still. I didn't go and drop them on every of them. I just put them in troublemakers. And they help. Not getting one of them sonic mixing things that make a lot of noise. And I can't make a lot of noise when I'm doing this, or people wake up and the next thing you know, they want to pull me in different directions. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and we're going to add more of these core colors here. And start bringing this up a little bit. And I've given up on using a wet palette. It just takes up too much real estate. Not worth the trouble. Maybe if I was doing figures with the vehicles, I do so much. I do so much of the painting that doesn't all use the wet palette that, and I have two of them too. One of them I bought, and one of them was given to me. Just more trouble than it's worth. That doesn't mean they suck. I'm just saying that, you know, it's just more trouble than it's worth. Most people off here between Christmas and New Year's. I've basically always been off between the two. It just this year is just kind of a weird situation. Usually the plant closed down. Doesn't. Worked on Christmas Eve and half day on Christmas Eve and all day tomorrow, all day Tuesday. I suspect half a day Wednesday. But I won't be there on Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't know how available I'm going to be. We got some folks that are driving through, staying with us. And one of the nights they're staying, of course, is tonight, which is, you know, I'm not thrilled about because it's one of those days that, you know, tonight I got to go to sleep to go to work, and then I got to tiptoe around the house with people sleeping in it. I should just be as loud as I want to fucking be because, you know, I got to go to work. They have the fucking day off. There won't be any show tomorrow morning, but there should be on Tuesday and Wednesday. I thought I was going to get another show in yesterday, but it just didn't happen. Even though that clown car came out so well that I really wanted to do more of them, but just didn't work out. I don't know that I'm going to bring this up anymore, really. That is one of my pet peeves. People are off and staying at my house, and I got to go to work. Like, the hell. And I can't just work from home. I don't ever have that option. I've never had that option, and never will at this job. Okay, we're going to leave that alone for the time being. Let's go back to the doors. Let's go back to the doors. Yeah, one of the 234s I have to put together has separate link tracks, so maybe I'll promote that video as Tony putting together a separate link track. I've gotten really fucking good at it. It's super empowering. Well, it isn't that empowering anymore now that we've kicked its ass multiple times, but I don't mind it one bit. I don't mind it one bit. All right, so here's the one thing before I forget that I need to do it. I wanted to paint this door as a color coat like this. So basically this same color on just the door, but I want to slap it on like it came off, right? Like it's on certain places and not on others. So let me take some of this paint off the brush and then run this against the grain as kind of an overbrush. Now, not the netting part, because the netting part, we're going to color match it to the blue of the wheels. And we don't want this to actually cover well. Yeah, this year I didn't get around to being able to do a Christmas show. I think I've done it the last 2 or 3 years. And I don't remember if I got any people that were on. Because that's like a day you need to spend that with your family, right? I'm just doing that because I'm awake before my folks. And I don't remember whether or not I got enough people that make it worthwhile, but I got off to a late start, and at that point I'm like, I'm not going to get all fired up and do this for like a half hour, and then everybody wakes up. So I just didn't do it at all. And I think you guys survived just fine. Okay, yeah, just something like this. Now we're going to put black lining in there. We're going to put drippings. Okay, but I wanted this core base door like it looked like they made an attempt to paint it. All right, now the blue of this here, of the netting, I'm going to try to do a blue. I'm not going to worry about it being metallic, but something like a mid blue like the wheels. Okay, so something like, now some of these blues are tricky. They'll look one way and they're really not that way. I think this is probably about the right one. One of these is like really a mind screw. Ends up being a lot grayer than it really looks like. Now, if the wheels had not been blue, and if I didn't want to keep the wheels blue, I wouldn't be doing this, right? We just do this like a regular netting color. Or even green and make it rusty, because it's going to be rusty. There's going to be drippings and stuff on there. Actually, now that I mention it, it actually might be this color. It is. It is. This color's got a lot of gray in it. You tricky fucker, you. Which color is this? Flat blue. Yeah, it's flat, all right. And this one, nope, dark blue. Dark blue. Let's go with dark blue. I mean, this could work. I want something a little bit more vibrant. There we go. This is what we're looking for. Kind of like a French blue. Oui, oui. Oui, oui, garçon. All right, we're just going to come in the basic color. Actually, let's add a little bit of black to it. There's the water here to, I don't care if there's a little bit of green in it. It'll be okay. And we're going to overbrush these areas here. And who knows? I may not like how this turns out. We'll just go back to painting it, the metallic color. But it'll help tie in the wheels that are a different color. I think it will. Okay, flip over to the other side. Tart tooth. Yeah, that's the first one. I don't know what this guy's named yet. It's not important. The important thing is that I build it. Like I design the vehicle first before I start painting it. That's the important part for me. All right, let's bring this up to this color it is originally. We won't cover it everywhere, but we'll put it so that it's worn out looking in some places. That's the thing with dry brushing is you never want to put just one color down. You need to add some depth to it to make it look a lot more interesting. Keep your eye entertained a little bit more. Okay, if you look at, man, that's a stupid color. Why is it so damn bright blue? Well, it needs to go with the wheels. It needs to go. Yeah, I could have just made the wheels like metallic color, which is what I would have normally done, but there's an opportunity to make this one a little bit different. Now the wheels are shiny because we haven't added any flat to it, but they won't be. And they'll be weathered and everything, but you'll still be able to tell they're blue. And of course, this will be on the front. I'm not going to paint this other than rusty. We'll leave the front of it rusty. Looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. This will be the first vehicle I have that actually has side-mounted weapons. We specifically made it so that you can have holes in it, so shoot out the side. And not the front. Oh, I wasn't expecting that to happen. But okay. All right, I'm going to have to do some epoxy. As little as I wanted to do that because of so much wastage. I mean, I guess I could give super glue a shot. I'm not going to really lose anything by trying that. If it doesn't work, then we can always use epoxy afterwards. And I just don't want to take the time to mix the epoxy. That's the only reason. It's not that I dislike epoxy. Au contraire, I am an epoxy fan. Let's see if we can get on with that. All right, we have this grill that we can paint. So those of you guys that are watching now, can you guys tell me why Sunday I get more viewers than Saturday? Maybe people were planning on like going out of town and stuff on Saturday, and like if not Sunday, just kind of laying low. I don't blame them. I don't like to travel on Sunday. I get the Sunday blues, as many of you know, and the worst thing I could do is make this day go by as quick as possible. Really not a fan of that. And I'm also not a fan of traveling somewhere and things being closed when I go somewhere else. Let's get us some. We already got some black here we can work with. We just need some white, and we can do these front lights. Seems to be a better number of people that watch on Sunday mornings or have their hobbying on Sundays. Hell, I might even do the tanks today. We'll see. We'll see how it works out. I got to be careful though. Some of those model kits got mold, as some of you guys said. See, I associate mold with like wet, but I guess there's other molds that are not wet. Let's hold this like this. All right, a little bit of this, a little bit of black, and some white. Okay, this thing got taillights. I'm not sure if those are taillights or not. Sometimes you got to figure out what things are supposed to be. Now, this is going to be visible from behind the grill, so I'd like for this to look, decent. let's get this that mithril silver out. That's not closed well. Yeah, I mean, I've hardly used this thing at all. And just opening it one time. All right, I got to find out where the hell my tweezers are. I looked for it yesterday and gave up. I only have one pair of them that are worth a damn. And I bought other ones on Amazon, and they were not worth a damn. For sure. Nope, that's not them. Oh, well, that's a good place for them. I wish I would have told myself they were there. Less likely to be doing chores and shit on Sunday. So Saturday's a chore and shit day, huh? You do your chores Monday through Friday, man. I'm not on here. I'm working. I get on them. Half the people in this neighborhood are retired. And I get annoyed when like they're mowing a lawn on a day that, my show's on. It's like, dude, you're sitting on your ass all week. Now they're probably not sitting on their ass, but they're not mowing the lawn. Yeah, look at all that paint that got wasted. That's what I hate about this design. Like, I didn't even use that much paint when I pulled that paint out. That's one of those false things that was a false bill of sale that was sold to me. Is I always grew up thinking people that were retired, older people, uh, went to bed early and got up early. Every person I know that's retired is a freaking night owl. I'll be honest, I'm not worth a shit after 9 p.m. I'm not. I can't stay up late. If I stay up late, then that means I'm not going to get any sleep. And I got to get up early in the mornings to go to work. I could get up later, but then I wake up and go straight to work. Like, screw that. That's like slavery. I get up and do whatever the hell I want for an hour and change. Yeah, it's not even an hour. I don't think I can handle just an hour. And the last thing I want to do is be rushed. Which honestly is the worst thing about my job. Really? It fell down again? All right, well, epoxy it is. I'm rushed and interrupted all the fucking time. So I am not a fan of anything that involves being rushed or being interrupted when I'm not at work. Designed to keep you buying more. Is that really the case? If it is, we need a revolution and hang some people. I'm just saying this is really well-designed paint in a well-designed container. That's really the flaw that it has. I mean, sure, the little nib falls off of it, and the hinge breaks off, but it's a soft plastic container top and a softish bottom, and it seals really well, except that wastage. I hate to think that there's nefarious people like maybe I'm just not of this world. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh yeah, they've solved cancer, but they don't because they want to keep everybody, buying medicine. Like I've always had a job that, if I can knock something out of the park and solve something, I'm always going to have issues. Stuff's always going to come up. So why would you want to keep regurgitating the same issue over and over again to stay busy? Like, I'll gladly do something else. There's always something that needs to be worked on. I can't imagine there being somebody that's like, yep, we're going to keep this perpetually going, so we're never out of work. Like, we got to hire attorneys to write all kinds of fine print on stuff that only attorneys can understand to keep attorneys in business. Like, that kind of mentality, like, I don't understand it. Like, I can't fathom that's stupid, you know? I don't understand it. There's always going to be something to work on. I mean, I want to finish things and then never hear from that thing again. Not like keep regurgitating the same thing over and over again. I'm not programmed for that kind of crap. Busy work. All right, well, epoxy it is. Let's see if I can get away with just using this. Oh, this stuff's stinky. It almost smells fishy. This is the hardener. The hardener is the one that's stinky. Stinkier. The resin's not as stinky. And we haven't used this in a while, and it shows. Man, we might have to buy a new one of these. It gets solidified in here somehow. No, it's coming out. Let me set this on its side. I'm going to need something to scoop this out. Let me get a little. I'm not even going to try to find a needle. I'm not going to find one. This area is not that chaotic. It's enough that it's kind of a pain. Let's see. Yeah, one of these should work. I have enough of these. We can spare one. Yeah, I mean everybody's got like repetitive stuff that you have to freaking do every day. If you could find a way to eliminate that and then start working on stuff that's like different, that would be like a step forward. Why would you want to like keep perpetually like doing the same stuff over and over again? We got a problem, Houston. We got a problem here. We're gonna have to buy some new of this new stuff here. Wow, this is, well, we have access to some of this. It's not that thick, but maybe I'll take this one since it's not in fear of flowing out. We'll store this upside down. We'll put this upside down there. See if we can have gravity help us a little bit. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait till this is almost dry and then apply it, because I don't know if this is going to cure properly. I mean, the last time I used epoxy, I mean, it had to be like 3 months ago. I don't think it was longer than that. I don't understand why this would have done this sort of thing. Let's check and make sure this is going to set before we get too involved. Hey, Hoffman, how you doing, man? Going okay. Got another Sunday blues. I got 2 Sundays in a row. I'm gonna get Sunday. I'm not. It's not too Sunday bluish. It's just one day, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a crazy day. Shouldn't be a crazy day. That doesn't mean it won't be, but it should not be. Yeah, I think this epoxy just freaking died from not using it like an inkjet printer cartridge. You don't use it enough, and it died. Well, we'll go to the hardware store. I think this came from Ace. I think Ace is who carries DefCon. Might have got it on Amazon. I don't know. Some things you should be better off not buying it on Amazon. You don't know how long it's been sitting on the shelf. I went to Rural King yesterday, one of the places we needed to buy some ammo. Probably going to do some target shooting before the daughter goes back to school. That's the cheapest place to buy ammo. And I'm like, I remember that I needed to get box cutter blades. You know, those blades that they're shaped trapezoidal, right? And they have like 2 sides, and you put them in like a box cutter or whatever. I got 4 or 5 box cutters that I've had forever, and they all have blades that are extremely dull. And every time I have to break boxes apart or anything like that, it's always like a struggle. So I remember to buy them, and there was some really cost differences between some of them. I mean, one of them was like $12 for 100 blades, and another one was like $4 for 5 blades. It was like, that doesn't make any sense. So yeah, I think it's setting okay, but it's not clear. It's weird. It's like milky, and it feels, you could feel it. It's gritty. So this DevCon's going bye bye. I guess we'll have to go. We'll have to go to the store again. I didn't want to run all the way into town, but sometimes you just got to do stuff you don't want to do. Try to work it in with something else. Like, you leave the house and you're basically going to be gone for an hour and a half. I'm not saying that I have a long commute. I'm just saying that, one thing leads to another. And the next thing you know, you're gone for an hour and a half. So, do you want to be gone for an hour and a half when you have to work the next day? No. Okay, the bottom of this sealed up with the super glue. All right, so we don't have an open bottom on this. So let's just cover this in enough goop to go all the way around it. And we're going to set this back in place somewhere in the center here. And hope that holds enough. We don't want this thing breaking apart inside, and then we got this rattling in there. You can't really see it. I thought we could. You can if I don't add this netting, but we have the netting on here. All right, and now I should be able to just, I'm going to wipe this down and reuse this little thing. But this, we will fold it together and send that off to away. All right, these boxes. Man, I don't know what color to do the boxes. Maybe we just need to punt on that. I also don't have to close it up. You know, I mean, this stays shut pretty well. I mean, without adding any glue to it. So I think I'll just, that's how I'll deal with that. I won't glue it down at all. Okay, this will be on the front. Of course, as soon as I put this on the front, that's not true. I could hot glue gun this on the front, and it's not going to mess anything up. Because if I pull it apart, this won't be in the way of anything. Okay, so I think we can hot glue gun this now. I'd rather do that than super gluing it, or epoxy. Let's do that. Oh, this thing get limp in there? Great. Yep. Maybe we need to, actually, it's okay if it's a limp, because it could just be one of those things that's on the pintle mount. You need somebody holding on to it. Otherwise, it just naturally falls down, kind of thing. What kind of weapons are you giving your clown cars? Well, it depends on the clown car. I set them up the other day and laid them all out, and that was definitely the right thing to do. The pie launcher, for instance, it has a mortar, and it has a glue dropper, and there's one of the guys has a submachine gun in there, and the driver's a terrifying lunatic. Which basically means if people end their turn within a certain distance of them, they'll add hazards to them. This one in particular is, let's see, this one, for instance, this guy here is a performance car, which means it has a crew of one, has a grabber arm. That's what this thing is. And the grabber arm is interesting. It gets close to another vehicle, and it could like turn its facing or whatever and set it down whichever way it wants to. Now, keep in mind, if this thing is like in like fourth gear, I don't know if an ice cream truck can go to fourth gear, but I believe it can. If it's in fourth gear, it can pick it up and move it and turn it and face it, you know, like this, for instance, and it's still in fourth gear. So when its turn comes up, there might be a wall here. Bam, it's got to slam into the wall. It's almost like it picks, it's like that whole, and I don't know whether this is true or not, but that old adage that you've heard about, you know, don't use cruise control like if it's raining, because if you hydroplane, you know, you'll still be going whatever speed, like it freaks out or whatever. It's kind of the same thing. Like you'll pick it up and the wheels are still spinning when you put it down. It's like it'll go off in the wrong direction. So it's got the grabber arm because you know it came with this thing. So I'm like, how am I going to use that? It has an exploding ram, so it's a one-shot thing. It's like a super ram, but you only get it once, and it's got an MG, which is it's a little honking thing. Literally, it's a honk, you know, but it's a machine gun in the shape of a little honking thing. It's going to go up like here beside it, and it has a powder keg thing. So if it blows up, it's more likely to take other people with it. So that's how this particular vehicle is. Handbow. Handbow. Where is handbow? I got this stuff in little bags on purpose, and when I lay these things out. Okay, handbow here move this off to the side while it dries. Handbow has one of these. Which is a wrecking ball. Okay, so it goes and it can attack people in a circle. It's treated as a wrecking ball. It has RC car bombs. He is a madman. And a road warrior, and has 10 grenades. And by little RC cars, he's got these little, they look like little teeth. That's exactly what they are, actually. They're little teeth. So he drops these things and behind him. So that's how that one is. So it doesn't have any weapons other than that. So it's basically a close combat. It's a close combat weapon. So this is a close combat thing. This pretty much is a close combat thing as well. The clown car has a bunch of extra crew members, of course. You know, it's a buggy with 4 crew members, and it's got rockets on it, and a steel net shooter. So I've never done the steel net thing before. The steel net is a crew weapon, so it's, I don't know, I guess it'd be like a crossbow or something like that, you know. Very clown-like, yeah. Never heard not use cruise control when it rains. It's probably sound advice. Yeah, that's what I've heard, you know, like if it hydroplanes or whatever, I guess your wheels would still be spinning at a certain speed. And, you know, I don't know whether it's true or not. You know, I think if it's got to be raining a lot, not just light rain. I mean, I use cruise control all the time. I use it a lot less than I used to because, you know, people can't go a consistent speed anymore. Everybody's on their damn phone and trying to multitask in the car. And I got to watch out for everybody and stay off their ass. So I don't use cruise control as much as I used to. I honestly don't use cruise control as much because of Waze. Like if I'm on the highway, I'm like, you know, I'd be afraid of like passing people before to get a speeding ticket. Now I'm like, I got to get around this guy. I don't give a shit if I got to go up this 95 and then drop back down to 72. I'm getting around this guy quick and then going back to my speed that I'm going to. So I want to make sure that I don't do that when there's an ambush, you know. But I use cruise control when I'm going to work because I got to go through this 45 mile an hour zone in this town, and it really shouldn't be that speed, but it is a speed. I live in a speed trap town. I mean, it's bad. It's bad. There's too much traffic here for cruise control. Used to be able to use it. Yeah, there's too much traffic now. And people have their head up. People just don't fucking pay attention. You know? People don't pay attention. You know, every time I go on the highway, every time I go on I-75, I see somebody who is riding behind a track. They're in a car, a minivan, or something like that. Minivan would be even worse. Like you got multiple people with you, right? And they're following behind a tractor trailer, and they're so close to the tractor trailer that the tractor trailer guy can't see them. And you know, if a recap goes off, they're going to eat it. There's like no reaction time. Like, how do you like unclench enough to be able to drive down for like a couple hours behind it? And I see that they're driving behind a freaking semi, 20 feet behind it, 2 car lengths, two of their own car lengths behind the pickup, behind the. I mean, in 70 mile an hour traffic. It's not like, okay, well, you know, we're going 30, or you know, we're in some kind of a zone where you're up the guy in ass in front of you, so nobody sneaks in there. You know, yeah, I don't know. I don't. Following distance is huge for me. Yeah, same things happen in Texas, happen in Florida. There's too many people. It's too many people, and too many people that are just driving distracted. So I can't tell you how many times that I've been listening to something on an Audible tape, and I got to turn it off. Like I'm I'm not even listening to it. I got to pay so much attention to these people that are misbehaving. Yeah, I came from town yesterday. I went to town to get something. I'd go on this 12 mile stretch of I-75 to get back here. And there was this guy that was in a left-hand lane. And the tractor trailers here, they're not supposed to, it's three lanes wide, and they're not supposed to be in a left-hand lane, and they don't give a shit. They get in the left-hand lane all the time. I don't really care what lane you're in as long as you keep one open, like for people passing. And I'm not in a huge hurry, but you shouldn't be going 10 miles an hour under the speed limit in the left-hand lane. So middle lane and right hand lane are blocked. There's two tractor trailers that are, making love to each other or something, where they can't get by. So some guys in the left hand lane going 67 in a 70 mile an hour zone, blocking everybody, and perfectly happy hanging out next to a tractor trailer. I don't hang out next to a tractor trailer. Like they're bouncing all over the place, slinging recaps and stuff, or they could. And I spend the minimum amount of time next to one when I'm passing one. And this guy was in the 60, going 67 left hand lane, and and not realizing he's doing, that's what causes accidents. People get frustrated behind, want to pass them. People pile up, just he's on that medication or whatever. He's on the pot. I don't know. Okay, did this take? I think it took enough. All right, what in here is going to be visible? I don't want to paint shit and nobody see it, right? It's not worth my time. I don't know if anything is visible, so we're going to leave it all black. Fuck it. I got better use of my time. So let's go ahead and close this up. Fire up the hot glue gun. Yeah, so if somebody's like distracted or something like that, like the guys in left-hand lane, I'll flash the lights on them. Like I don't need to be like a dick. Maybe he's thinking about his mother that just passed away or something. I don't know. Maybe he's, preoccupied. But hey, move out of the way. And the guy doesn't move out of the way. It's like, dude, man, you're holding up the entire world. But all right, we'll fire this thing up. I guess we lost one of our lights. Okay. Well, doesn't really make much of a difference for you guys. We'll leave it off. Yes, I haven't had any of my World War II people complaining too much that I've been working on these toy cars and not really World War II stuff. But I would like to build some of the T-34s. I'm kind of feeling a hankering for them. The problem is I don't have anywhere to put them. Like if I get them completed, I'm like I got nowhere to put them. As it is, I probably have 30 or 40 vehicles that I could probably put in this case, and I don't have anywhere to put them. I mean, they're stacked side to side. I just have that much stuff. So, well, it's better than having tons and tons of kits unbuilt. That's not doing anybody any good. So we're going to hot glue this to the front. Figure out what color I'm going to paint the boxes. I really don't know. I almost want to say they need to be some kind of buff color. I just don't know that. I mean, they could be like red and white. That would tie into the. Oh shit! We need to put. I was going to put the windows in here. Let's see. I don't have to put the windows in here, but what else am I going to do with this extra windows? Yeah, we'll put them in there. This is going to look super cool. All right. You ever see anybody involved in any road rage? The closest I've seen to somebody becoming involved in road rage is I was riding with this one guy a long time ago, 1996. It's the last time I ever rode with him, and he got all upset because somebody had thrown some trash out, and the trash hit him. It wasn't like it was something big; it was just a piece of paper. And then he went into rage mode. This is like 1996. It was a while ago. He went into rage mode and wanted use their car as a battering ram, so to speak. Like they're going to teach him a fucking lesson, right? Well, do it when I'm not in the car with you. Have fun killing yourself. Like I got plans later on. Like I'm not riding with somebody like that. You start being aggressive and wanting to close up somebody's ass while I'm in the car. I'm like, I'm not gonna ride with you. I'll fucking tell you, I don't give a shit. You're a lunatic. I'm not riding with you. Okay. I don't know why these wheels didn't take. Maybe I didn't close them up. Well, time to do that now. When's that IPMS thing you were talking about going to with your brother? I went from being like super excited to going to one to like, I don't know if I'm going to go to another one. I don't need anything, first of all. And there's a lot of stuff that I wouldn't mind getting that just isn't there. You're basically getting stuff that people overbought. You can get some good deals. Don't get me wrong. You can get some good freaking deals. But I got plenty of stuff to. I've gotten better deals at the flea market at our game convention. Think it's in January. Gotta double check. I think I have one in February. I don't know if I'm gonna go. Maybe. Yeah, I knew somebody like that, but he liked to buy fast old cars and he had no idea how to drive. Nope. Stay away from that guy, man. And that's before I had a family. I mean, we're not gonna go that way. Here for the company and chat, regardless of content, doing my own stuff normally. Okay. Well, good. I'm glad I'm keeping you entertained. I'd like to think that I mix it up quite a bit. It's not intentional. It just happens, you know? It just kind of happens, Sometimes we talk about movies. Movies is one of those things that honestly, I talk so much about TV programming and movies, and I watch so little of it, but it's something that everybody has in common. Lots of people like to sit around and watch movies. I don't see any point in watching movies when you could play a video game. And I was talking about this with somebody recently who's I would call them a TV addict. And I said, I don't really understand movies because, there's just not, you don't get to make any decisions. Like that's why I like playing games because, you get to enjoy it and you constantly get to make decisions. Like, okay, which template am I going to pick? What am I going to roll? What am I going to attack you with? What tactics should I use, etc. There's a lot of decision making to make. And I like making decisions. They're fun, taking repercussions into effect, what have you. I think at this point I'm going to not worry about that right now. Let's weather the bottom of it, and that way we can do some black lining and keep the thing moving. By the time we all do all that, they're not going to get any dusty stuff at the top of that anyways. Or if we can just dusty it by itself. So I don't really make an effort to like talk about the base stuff. I got one guy that I play video games with, War Thunder, which by the way I forgot to renew. I was supposed to do that before the holidays and get half off. Forgot to do it. Well, I'm not going to renew now until I play with him again. But we talk World War II shit the whole time when we're playing. I fired up Assassin's Creed Odyssey. They have some really good looking stuff on that game. They do. Now they have a lot of that. The worst thing about that game is that they have a lot of, adding people that shouldn't be in the game just for, what do you call it? Just for, they got black people in there. They shouldn't be in there. I don't have a problem with black people being in the game, but don't put them in fucking Norway, right? It's not too bad, but it's like, all right, inclusive. I don't mind being inclusive, but if that's what your incentive is to be inclusive, then make a game that allows you to be inclusive, right? But the Assassin's Creed Odyssey has some beautiful buildings. Now, sure, some of this stuff is stylized, but it might give you an idea. Like, let's say you've got a temple for your Athenians or something like that. And, remember, we're looking at stuff thousands of years ago, but thousands of years old that the paint, like, fell off. But, like, it gives you an idea of, like, what color things could have been. And it's beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful game. Yes, it's hokey as hell. But now, I went to my Second and Charles place. Made another trip to Second and Charles, which I don't seem to ever find anything to freaking buy there, even though I had about $100 credit, selling old stuff that we don't use anymore. And I finally broke down. My daughter was with me, and I ended up getting Grand Theft Auto 5. Now, I got the game way back when on the 360, and I hadn't played it in about a decade because she wanted to hear the storyline because it's pretty damn funny. Or I remember it being pretty damn funny. And I played some of it yesterday, but it's got a lot of like empty space. Like, okay, go travel to this place, and it's just so damn far away. It's like, well, the good news is I'm not going to sit there and play that all day, but she did want to say, hey, can we play? Can I watch you play some of it this morning? I'm like, yeah, I guess I could do some of that, But the Assassin's Creed, who was it that was telling me about it? I think it was the guy at work that said they had the Viking one. And he said that the thing they didn't like about the Viking one is there's just stuff on top of each other on all over the place. Like it was overbuilt. Like if you've got it like in Britain, I guess I've never played the Viking one. I played the pirate one. I played the Napoleonic one, and I played the Greek one. Some of the bosses in the Greek one is just too damn difficult. I mean, I don't want things to be easy, but I also don't want to die 20 times in a row and keep going. Like, I'll give up. I'll go somewhere else. Like, I don't need that kind of punishment. But he was saying that the Viking one was like really built up. Like there was stuff around every corner. And I said, well, it didn't really bother me if that was the case in the Greek one because, they've been civilized for a lot longer. But it's a fun game. It's, I mean, I wouldn't want to play the dude because I don't like playing long-haired dudes. And second of all, I'd rather look at the backside of the girl for, multiple hours. But she's pretty attractive when she'd probably kick my ass, but I know she'd kick my ass, but she's fairly attractive. I played it a lot. For some reason, it doesn't work anymore. It doesn't. It won't work on the Series X. I don't know whether it was a licensing issue and it doesn't work anymore, but the ships. I know I got the ships all maxed out. The ships are beautiful, unrealistic as hell, but their ships are beautiful. You're talking about. I think you're the one that's doing all the triremes and stuff, man. There's definitely some food for thought there, in those things. There's absolutely gorgeous stuff on there. When I ran into Alcibiades, I'm like, I ain't doing nothing for this fucking asshole. And he's a dick in the game too, so that's like perfect. Grand Theft Auto Online has online. Well, it always had online. It always had online, but I played it last night for the first time like in 10 years, right? And it's funny. We had created what's it called? A team. And it was called with my brother, his best friend, and myself a long time ago on the 360. And I was still a member of that team. So it still remembered that I had a game, even though I had to basically start from scratch, which is the aiming on it is so bad. So bad. I mean, we were playing Forza Horizon, and the Forza Horizon steering on the vehicles so is just night and day, even more than night and day. So, but what was it? Gunshine State Gunrunners or something like that. I forgot what the hell it was. But anyways, it remembered that. But it's total. The online experience is totally different than what I remember it being. Because now it's like you got to build a bunker, and well, I spent all this effort keeping the wheels blue, and now I covered them over, so you can't really tell. Oh well, I feel like it needs to be this dirty. You know, I could rinse some of it off if it really bugs me. But it's totally different. It's also very like there's a lot of detail here, and there's like nothing in between them, and you got to like build a bunker and run this other operation. I don't know if I'm going to play the online stuff that much, but I found to use my. It was really inexpensive. I didn't have a version of the game that ran, so yeah, figured like my daughter said, I said, man, you've come here multiple times and you haven't used a credit, so at least use it for something. So, all right, let's do some black lining on here. Yeah, the problem with the online is you'll be doing something else, and somebody will come in and they'll like hose you, and you're like, dude, I don't want to have anything to do with you. Like, I went to the airport, so I wanted to get in a plane. And I'm trying to be not a bad individual. I created a character that kind of looks like myself, so I don't want to be some just a destructive bastard all the time, but um, you could like pick different professions or whatever. Like you can run a nightclub or nightclub, couple different things. And I'm like, I'm gonna run guns. That's more my style. I don't want to deal in any drugs. We're gonna run guns. It's something to do. I mean, I hadn't played that game in 10 years. It's crazy they haven't come up with another game of it. But man, the controls are wonky. I already knew they're wonkier than I ever remember them being. I don't care too much for the online games because I don't really want to interact with people I don't know. And the main thing is some people just don't know how to act like civilized human beings. And other people is there's no if you know somebody that you're playing, you're not going to just disconnect all of a sudden and just leave you hanging. There's no ownership with people that are just you don't know. Like I don't even speak to anybody. I'll put the headphones on just so I'm not taking over the entire house with the noise, but I don't talk to anybody. Random people. There's too many of those games that just they're mature games that too many people let the game raise their child. So you got some 7-year-old playing a game that involves crack whores and stuff like that. I'm like, now I want to know there's so many problems with society. There's a big one. Like, oh, we don't have that. We want to go out. Oh, let's get the kid a babysitter. Nah, just let him play Grand Theft Auto. But the kid's 6. He'll find. He'll enjoy it. It took a long time to install it, even with the discs, and it took a lot of space. But they've added so much to it; it almost seems like a completely different game. But one of the things I don't like about games is when you have a game where you have to complete certain tasks, that's fine. But you have to do them a certain way. And then if you don't do them the way it's that you have to do them and you have to start over. That like recipe, I don't like that. Like Splinter Cell. Splinter Cell was one of the first games that I played on the original system. And you had this covert guy that needed to do, covert stuff. And he had a Beretta pistol with one magazine, the one that was in there. That's it. You couldn't shoot somebody that also had 9mm ammo and refill your pistol. That's it. You have your 15 rounds. That's all you can do. You can't pick up somebody that had an AK, some guard you don't drop with an AK or whatever. Can't pick that up. I don't mind being stealthy, but shit's gonna go sideways, right? And like you're playing Assassin's Creed, right? You're trying to assassinate somebody. Like I want to assassinate somebody, but if it doesn't work out, I want to not like start the level over. I want to like, okay, let's try to fight our way out. Not like you failed. Would you like to restart again? I'm like, no. I don't like games that are like that. Even like what's the one with the 47, the assassin, whatever guy, where you get to you get to attack people and then dress up in their clothes and walk by people and whatever the hell that's called. Hitman. Even in Hitman, you're supposed to basically be quiet all the time, but to my recollection, and I don't have any of the games, but I've played them in the past. When things go sideways, the game isn't over. You got to fight your way out, and if you get killed fighting your way out, they have an online U-boat game that looks cool, looks fun. I don't know which one that is. I like submarine games, but I like going after big ships. I like going after battleships with them. I don't want to just sit around and shoot merchantmen. I want to go and try to hunt. The very first One of the very first video games I got was a submarine game. And I specifically went out like, all right, where are battleships going to be going? All right, they're probably going to be in the Irish Sea, right? So I'm hanging out near Liverpool, outside Scapa, see if I can catch a glimpse of some battle wagon and put some torpedoes into it and sink her, right? 'Cause that's what's glorious. We're not going to sink it, merchantmen. That's freaking boring. I'm all about battleships. Cruisers and destroyers too, but I've had some fair fun playing World of Warships, even though hokey as hell. It is hokey as hell. Don't spend any money on it, but it's something to do. I get to see ships going through the ocean or whatever. It keeps me from building them. There's a U-boat game that's called U-boat that you have to run it. You have to run like a crew. But the problem with that game is that it's not finished. And I've bought one or two games that way. And the problem with unfinished games is, for me personally, by the time they finish them, if they ever do, you're already tired of playing the game. So you're basically signing up to play a game now that isn't complete for about half prices it's going to retail for, that may never be completed. That you may not like it because it doesn't get, maybe it's missing something that you really want out of it. Like, I think the U-boat, one of the issues is you don't have very many U-boat choices. It's not like you can have a Type 2 and a Type 7 and a Type 9. It might only have one type U-boat that you can even use. So I can just imagine it doesn't have all the warships that it would eventually have. But it does look good. It's got like a side view, right? Almost like a cutaway view. You can move your guy. I haven't played it. I've seen the video. It looks pretty good. All right. What else do we have the back line? The back here. I'm fortunately not really tempted by very many video games. There's some that I've played a lot, and there's some that I'm not even interested in playing it. That's a good thing because this is what I need to be doing. But I can get my gaming fix from doing that, even if I don't ever game the stuff that I'm painting. Hold on one second, folks. Be right back. Yeah, I've covered up some of this blue, but all I gotta do is just give it a little bit of a wash. I want some of it to come off. So I may do some of that. All right, still avoiding the boxes. Let's go and do the drippings. Mid brown. Light tone. Where's the other tone? Soft tone, there we go. Soft tone. All right. Let's go ahead and prop this up on here so we don't take all this stuff off while adding the detail. And a little bit of water. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm gonna go around this door here a little bit. There's few colors that work better than like yellow. Yellow is really good to add this kind of stuff to. Works really well. I guess white would as well, except that you got to make sure they don't make white things look too chalky and not be happy with how they turn out. So these are attached here to this. They probably rust like a mofo from that attachment point. And of course, the whole front of this thing. Same thing on these spots here. Just a little, whether it's filth or rust or both. There's a guy that posted some of his stuff on the Gaslands group about these clown cars. It looked pretty cool, but I'm pretty sure he's got weapons in there that the cars aren't allowed to have. Which is fine if that's what you want to do that, but I don't want to build stuff that's not what you see is what you get. I know that's not important to everybody. It is to me. And also, gives me an excuse to build another vehicle. Like, I want something cool in this vehicle, but I can't put all the cool toys on every vehicle. Yeah. Maybe the person just wants to build, not as many vehicles as I have, which, I can understand. We have an absurd amount of vehicles now. I think the last one we did now makes 62 in basically 3 months. So, yeah, that's probably pretty extreme. That's not as extreme as how many Matchbox cars I bought in the last 3 months. That's probably more ridiculous. I don't know what that number is, but it's in the hundreds. But we got a pretty good track record of working on these things. So how long you think you'll be making cars for? Well, I got to work on something, right? So the reality is working. If I never play again, they're fun to do. Um, I got to work on something, and I've used them in a game, and we've used them in several games, and they work really well. So that there's that going for it. I don't know. I don't know, but I'm not. I want to work on the stuff that I want to work on. So if I want to break off and do tanks, I'm gonna break off and do tanks. I bought the stuff to do the war rigs and lost interest in doing the war rigs basically because I don't know when the hell we're going to play next. And since that's basically something I'm building just so we can play with it, I'm not super interested in doing that right this second. You know, um, I'm going to work on stuff that I want to work on, and if I don't want to work on it, I'm not going to work on it. But I do need to work on stuff because it makes me feel good. Now, whether it's the only problem with the tanks is just got nowhere to put them. I mean, you might be able to squeeze a couple more in here, but I'm basically out of space. Tanks is just like no space for tanks. Actually, I got no space for cars either. I used up that space too, But um, I got to do stuff that I want to do for me, not for other people. You rely too much on other people, and then other people let you down, or it doesn't really work out. Like, you know, that's why I said, the gaming doesn't. I don't really care about the gaming because the gaming I can get my fix by, firing up the Xbox and playing a little bit of gaming. The other people that I game with, well, like Mitch, for instance, he games all day, every Tuesday, all day long. So like, if he didn't have anybody to game with, I might feel some sympathy for him. Like, all right, let's bend over backwards to get him playing some games. He's playing, a lot more than I am. So I'm like, all right, well, I need a game when it's convenient for me. Just like he's gaming when it's convenient for him. if the stars align, we'll do a game. If not, well, it'll be whenever the stars align. I'm not bending over backwards and fucking up my entire work week trying to get there on a Tuesday. So I'm probably not going to play on a Tuesday again. And I have a lot of fun, but it's like it's paying a fucking ass, and I'm definitely more overworked than he is. So, I got first dibs. Like I said, he's playing he's playing his stuff all the time. So, one of you guys said, "Man, why are you always playing?" It might have been Justin. Why are you always playing over at Mitch's place? He had a good point. I took him up on him. I'm not playing over there anymore. I'm not filming. I'm not playing this over there. So, but again, it's not like, I had some people, and not necessarily you guys, but it was one guy in particular, like, man, we need to get you to play more often. Like, you feel sorry for me. Like, I don't need to play. I need to paint like every day. I don't need to play. What about the people that build plastic models? They never play. Don't you feel sorry for them? Yeah, because they're building plastic models. But, so I'm already doing all the heavy lifting. So it's like when we're doing DBA, man, we're running so many events and trying to make it easy for people, and people don't show up. Well, fuck them. we're playing something different now. I couldn't tell you how many times I'd hear from these people, man, I'm glad I found out about this DBA game. Are you guys in Florida? I said, yeah, we go to Orlando a couple times a year. Oh, man, I'll meet you next time. And they never show up. Like, too many cry wolvers, people that cry wolf. So, how long will I be making cars? I don't know. I'm enjoying it. I'm way behind on making cards for these cars. I have like 60 cars, and I probably have 35 cars made. I need to like on the piece of paper, like they're designed, they're made, but I just haven't done the Excel spreadsheet type of thing. It's just one of the it's just one of those what do you call it? One of the byproducts of really disliking my job is I'm not really willing to dislike anything else that's not my job. So if something becomes like not a lot of fun and it's not my job, I'm not gonna fucking do it. You know. So I really wanted to catch some of y'all's DBA games, but that damn C word cropped up. Yeah. C word, the C word has been a rude awakening. Um, it's changed everybody, including me. It's like changed everybody, and then I'm like, well, fuck this. I'm not gonna, bend over backwards for that. Yeah, that C word is really the fuckery. And you got to remember, I haven't missed a single day of work because of it. We didn't shut down any days before of it. It has just made everything. It just made everything more difficult. And and I understand that people have some real issues with it and got scared, but it just pissed me off. Just the whole thing. It's like I didn't catch a break, didn't get any days off, didn't get to work from home, didn't. Other people got more flexibility and I didn't get any. So, yeah, so many people, I don't go to shows now, I'm too close. Fuck it. I don't think that I may not go to conventions this year coming up. I may not. I may not go. And and I didn't miss any, but COVID was the first time that, oh shit, I said it, was the first time that I missed conventions. I didn't miss, and after I missed one convention, I'm like, well, fuck it then. I don't care how many more I miss. I mean, they're fun, but they do cost money, and they do cost time off, and which in turn causes a pain in the freaking ass. You know, I wish I could be like, you know what? Just pay me for all the days off at work. I'm not going to take any of them off. And in about 12 years, I'll just do all the vacationing that I need to, because it's just like it's paying. You're getting punished to take time off. You got to do all this extra work, which you know, which we're already overworked as far as I'm concerned, and then you have to clean it all up. It's just like it's not fucking worth it. Not fucking worth it. Just for people to come up with reasons. Oh, I have the range and I can't make it. Like, oh, I'll make the sacrifice. Like, I'll make the sacrifice for the good because people will come in and play the game, and people will come up with candy ass excuses not to be there, and they're not even the C word related. Like, why am I bending over backwards for people that aren't willing to do it? Yeah, see, this doesn't cover well. So you just come in with some paint that's more than you'd like to put on and just kind of stipple it and just leave it. Just walk away from it. Don't stay there. At some point, I have to decide what color to make these boxes. I'm thinking like a light. They do have a pattern on them. I don't know. I probably have to punt on that. Have your own convention. Nah, I don't like that many gamers. Last convention I went to, I had a good time, but I played Hero Quest the whole time because there wasn't anybody running games I wanted to. I'm not going to run them. I'm tired of doing all the heavy lifting and people not showing up. Like, I'm not going to film anywhere other than here. Like, I got a lot of stuff to move over. Like, it might as well all be right here. Like, the cars are here. Luckily, I'm not like starving to do it. All right, let's can I see enough of the blue? I think that's enough. I don't want them to all be freaking blue. I think it looks pretty good. Just got to figure out what the hell to do with the damn boxes. And damn boxes, and once it's sealed, it looks so much better. That tart tooth turned out so much better once it was sealed. Tony Khan. Nah, I'm too short. I'm not short enough to be naming things after myself. That's a lot of work and stuff that there's aspects of the hobby that I'm just not interested in doing. It's just too much work. It's not fun. When it stops being fun, I'm like, I don't. For instance, I don't want to like when I was doing DBA, I didn't want to collect money from people. I do not want to collect money from people for prizes. So I just decided I'm going to make my own little awards that cost me basically nothing. They're as much fun as they are to I don't mind doing them, and when they stop being fun, I stop doing them. And I didn't mind doing them, but I don't want to take money from people. Just like one of my big pet peeves is people say, hey, you should volunteer to do this, you should volunteer to do that. and it's said by people that don't do a fucking thing. I'm like, all right, well, why don't you step up? You're the one that wants to, you know, have a flea market or something like that. Like, hey, we should game on whatever. I'm like, I'm not really interested. You do it, So I'm very like not interested in doing shit like that. Like, I don't want to do anything that's like, politics related or anything. In politics, from the standpoint of like, hey, why don't you put together like a group of people that you can vote and have? I'm like, not interested in that. I'm not interested in serving on the board of our association for our neighborhood. Like, no, I'm not. You know, I already dislike my job. I don't need to dislike doing stuff when I'm not there. So, um, and again, a lot of it is like, what are other people dealing with? Like somebody says, man, my job's real easy. Like, okay, well, I'm not going to bend over backwards for you, And it happened all the time when we go to Historicon, like we were driving like 14, 15 hours to put on DBA games. And some people that lived an hour away, oh, it's in the summer. I can't really do it. Okay, well, then we're not going to bend over backwards. Well, I'm not going to bend over. Mitch still says he's going to run DBA shit. I ain't going to run DBA anything. And I got nothing against the author. It has nothing to do with Phil. My only gripe with Phil really is like, for God, good God, man, like organize the rules together in a way that, that mortals can understand it. Not even write them, organize them in a way. I got nothing against, I had many years of a lot of fun with Phil's work. It's got nothing to do with him. So, yeah, I'm glad I didn't go to the store and buy more of this stuff. I could just use cardboard boxes. We all get enough of that stuff. And when you get too much shit on here, just be like, fuck it. We'll just flip it upside down. Don't have to look at it. Cut another piece out. Take it out there to the airbrush station, airbrush on it. It's free. So, yeah, I do stuff that keeps me busy. I mean, I really appreciate you guys hanging out, but if you don't hang out, I get it. You got other things to do, but like, I would actually take your guys' suggestions over people that, I don't ever see. Hey, you should do this. Like, you should fucking show up, Oh, these bloody boxes. These bloody boxes. Well, they have an X on them. So the question is, well, let's see the actual ammo for them. What the little things that we drop are going to look like. That's not them. That's not them. That's them. That might help me decide. All right, I'm going to do a search on the internet. I'm going to need to move this a little bit out of the way so I can access the computer. And I'm going to do a search on the internet for toy boxes. Wrong search. Toy boxes. All right, let's do this. Let's do Jack in the box. No, not gonna get that. Let's do Land of Misfit Toys. Let's start there. Land of Misfit Toys. All right, let's do an image search. I don't want to watch a whole fucking cartoon. I own it, whatever. Let's see. There's got to be stuff in toy boxes here. If they didn't have an X pattern, I'd probably paint them like a light wood. I feel like the X needs to be red. I feel like the X needs to be red. I don't want each side of the box to be a different color. I mean, you make one side red, one green, one blue, you know, the X. I guess if you made it a light buff color, you could probably do that. I don't know how it's going to look. I don't want to repaint things a million different times. Am I seeing anything here that just jumps out at me? Oh, this is a cute freaking reef. Well, it's too late to get a reef. Maybe next year. The Jack in the Box from that is just all like one solid color. So that's not, I want them all to be the same. I want all the boxes to be the same. I don't want them different from each other. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Let's start off painting him a light wood color. Did I find a quiet place to Google? No, I forgot about it. What do I have to look for again? I haven't had a quiet place in a long time, man. I got people all up my ass. That might actually have something to do with those clowns. I don't know. Depends if they're ass clowns or not. All right, the stuff that's inside here are going to be red colored, right? There's like rockets and like dynamite. That's all going to be red color. So I don't think I want the main color of this to be red. I could deal maybe with a red X. I could also deal with the X being in a different color. I think, a light like buff color, like let's say an Iraqi sand light color would probably be okay as the base color of it. Let's go with that. Let's just start thinking about it. This size doesn't matter, the clown. Sounds like a huge clown to me. Like, size doesn't matter. Oh my God, I'm drowning. The question I want to know is, how did you find that stuff? Because there's stuff I stumble across, but it's usually things that I wouldn't mind seeing. I came across an affordable book on the Mexican Revolution in English, but man, is that a period I want to enter? No. Although those figures of which Mexican Revolution, right? I assume you mean the one like after the American Civil War, the Maximilian one. I assume you mean that one. Because, I almost said Sancho Panza. No, not Sancho Panza. Whatever that guy's name. Pancho Villa. I assume Pancho Villa is not what you mean, because that wouldn't be interesting at all. I could see the that one, the 1866 one being interesting. Those figures, I've said it before, they used to come on the miniatures page, and they had those figures that were made by War Games Foundry are beautiful figures. Just beautiful figures. That period just has really bad hairstyles. It's got like, really awkward, like hair and sideburns of unusual size. No, the later one, Pancho Villa. Oh yeah, that doesn't interest me at all. Does not at all. I mean, I wouldn't even consider that. I don't know anybody out there makes like really cool figures or anything like to tempt me. Lots of people went out and did that kind of stuff back then. I mean, lots of people served with Pershing and stuff like that. Patton, wasn't Patton down there? I want to say Patton was involved in. I mean, obviously he was like a lieutenant or something like that. I honestly don't know much about the period. I suspect Pancho Villa was some kind of like pre-commie type guy. Oh, we got to help the people. Yeah, okay, sure. I don't know how revolutionaries are in Europe, but I can tell you the ones over here in the New World. Well, it's not the New World. People have been over here longer. It's the fucking New World to me. The ones over here in the New World are all quasi-commie fuckers. So I'm never going to take their side. Blue Moon and Peter Pig do figs for that period. Interesting. Your great-grandfather, father of the guy that was one of the first in a Chafee, was a motorcycle dispatch rider down in Villa's escapades on the border. Oh, well, there you go. That's why you're interested in it. That's it. My dad always was really interested in Spanish American War stuff because, he was a kid in Cuba and, he was always interested in that squadron to get the shit beat out of him at Santiago. But that's why he was interested in it because it was, it's kind of on the home thing. But some people were interested in different things for different reasons. I've never found anything interested in American history really that interests me at all. Or, it just doesn't interest me. I don't know. I've never been interested in any history that my dad was really interested in. Like, just doesn't, just don't really care for it. That's not to say that a game like that couldn't be fun. I'm just, hell, I played a game that was a Western game, which I'm not a fan of Western games, and it was a lot of fun. But somebody else got to put that on. Zapata. That's the guy getting mixed up with. Zapata was the commie guy. Villa is more of a bandit, from what I understand. Zapata. That's right. There's some kind of like there's some kind of Zapata. I want to say they put on some kind of like Zapata type restaurant in Miami. And Miami, at least historically, is excruciatingly anti-communist. Like, the people that came from Cuba and stayed in Miami, there's a reason they left. They really don't play games with that stuff. And they put some kind of freaking, no, it was some Che Guevara based bar with him. And like, it did not do well. People, it did not do well. That's a big Zapata. That's my wife had a place that when before I knew her, she had some bar that she would go to up in the Northeast. I think it was called Viva Zapata. Yeah, I really don't know much about that period. So, Zapata. Nope. Not going to be a fan of those guys. I play them in a game. I don't care. I'll play commies in a game. I love playing Soviets, and I'm not very sympathetic to them. Soviets are a lot of fun to play, actually. They're gonna have to wait for that to dry a little bit. I think wood is the way to go. Maybe we'll put the maybe that X will be in a colorful color, but it needs to be a relatively light color so it'll pop from there. You know, get some ice and another Coke. I'll be right back. Yeah, there's a guy, one of the guys I used to play with that we used to play with. He would go to this game store in this other town over to play these tournaments. They had a pretty avid tournament scene for some things. It just doesn't seem like anybody here in town does anything that's miniatures, even like BattleTech or something. They don't even do BattleTech. It's all either role playing games, that fucking magic shit, which is just collecting cards. Like, you know, if I want to play Magic, I'll just fire up one of the Hearthstone if I really want to. But anyhow, but they run these tournaments in the next town over, BattleTech or Flames of War, whatever the hell it was that they were playing. He took these pictures and playing the games. And there's one guy, this Wookiee looking dude. That's what I'm going to call them, the Wookiees. This fucking Wookiee dude wearing a freaking commie shirt. And he wasn't even playing Flames of War, wearing a shirt with a hammer and sickle. I'd have to say something to him. You know, and I'm not pro corporations, right? I'm not like this, I'm not like this right wing corporation pro guy, but they ain't wearing no commie shit and getting away with it. I'm gonna say something to you. Like, take a bath, you Wookie. There's too many Wookiees that play games. Hey, I'm just, you know how they say paying it forward? I pay it backwards, right? I'm gonna give you some good old middle school, mid 1980s early 1980s middle school bullying to you. Peer pressure. Take a bath, you Wookie. And I like Chewbacca, but I don't want to play games with him. Yeah. I want to play games with people that have a wearing some Nazi T-shirt either. It's the same crap. Totalitarian fuckers. All right, where do we leave off with this thing? We have this, right? And we have this. Let's blend some of this in here with it. Now, there's one play HeroQuest. I played with this guy. He was a nice enough guy, right? We walked up to the table. We're playing this hero quest, and guys running the games like, just grab any character you want, start playing. He's like, you guys, and the guy over there says, this guy was a short Wookiee, right? Short Wookiee looking dude, and you got any dwarves? Says, I so I like to play. I have a beard, and I like to play. I like to play characters with beards. I didn't miss a second to say, I'm clean shaven, and I like to play characters that are human and clean shaven. I only get to play one character. I'm gonna play some. I'm gonna play some human fucking knight or something like that. That one, if I get a chance to play only one character, I'm gonna play some conquistador type dude. Something like that. Oh, I think this is the right color call right here. You just need to give this thing some TLC, and I think it'll just be. I just don't want to paint this whole thing and then realize, man, I should have done something different, and then wasted my time. I have to start over. It's not like I can't just repaint it. Airfix World War One figures useful for that period, especially especially British and U.S. The only figures I had seen here, I only saw. Well, I didn't see any and I don't know whether you guys in Britain believe me, but Airfix didn't exist when I was a kid. In the 80s, I didn't. In any toy store, hobby store that I went to, Airfix never saw Airfix in the early 80s. It was all MPC, which was Airfix, but not Airfix. And MPC, I don't think I ever saw British World War One infantry MPC. I don't believe I ever did. They made the Doughboys, Americans, and the Germans. I had some of the Germans, still do. And the Germans are like 1914 Germans. They're not very inspiring looking figures. Like the cool looking World War One figures are, in my opinion, well, for the Germans is the 1916 onward ones, because the early German figures, those early German, it's just their pointy helmet things. They look weird, and their boots are brown, right? Because German World War One boots are like dark brown; they're not black. It just I don't know, just kind of counterintuitive. I had some, and I was like, you know, just like I never saw Airfix. I mean, I never saw MPC, and they may have made them. I never saw MPC Soviet infantry for World War II. Never saw them. I don't know if they made them or not. They certainly didn't make everything that Airfix made didn't get translated in NPC. I know that for a fact. But like all of my Airfix models that I built as a kid that weren't Airfix, they were NPC. I liked their box art. I think their box art was spectacular. And I don't know why they just didn't use the same box art as Airfix, but they didn't. And it's like really inspiring artwork, at least when you're a kid. Better than the Matchbox artwork. Yeah, slightly better. There's nothing wrong with the Matchbox artwork. I'm just saying it's even better than the Matchbox artwork. Or at least I liked it more than the Matchbox artwork. Artwork. Otherwise, I would have had them. I mean, I would have had them. I mean, they made the African Corps and the Desert Rats. I have them. I've even painted some of them, and they're spectacular fucking figures. Whoever sculpted that needs an award named after them. The only gripe I have with the Africa Corps and Desert Rat figures from Airfix. I'm not talking about the 132nds. I didn't have that. That's a scale that does not apply to me. But the 172nd scale guy, the only thing wrong with them is they got both of them have some socks that are just like they have way too much elastic. They're just like all the way up to like their freaking gonads. They're pulled so far up. So I need to relax the socks a little bit. And the figures are like stellar. I mean, they're like incredible figures. Those two. The German infantry World War II, some guys are okay. The guy that's the Han Solo figure, the officer, is awesome. Hard to find one of those without a bent Luger or the end of it missing out. But and a couple of guys like, Dorky, or the guy covering his face, or the guy with make believe machine gun, the make believe MP. He's got like He's got like some gun from like fucking Cobra or some shit like that. It's like a make believe gun. It's like nothing at all. Um, the Marines are okay, but the Africa Corps and the Desert Rats are just stellar figures. Stellar figures, every one of them, and they paint up ridiculously well. Like I painted some. I don't think I finished any of the Africa Corps, but the Desert Rats I painted are just incredible. They're like some of the best figures I've ever painted. And I've had them since I was like 10. Like that blew me away. Copyright in the U.S. Yeah, I don't know why they did that. I don't know why they did that. I mean, they sell Airfix stuff now, but I never saw them. All my ships. I had the Bismarck and the Suffolk and the Ark Royal and Repulse and what else did I have? Graf Spee, Prinz Eugen. I believe I got Prinz Eugen by collecting the little anchors and sending away to it. What else did I have British? I had something else that was British. Suffolk Repulse, Ark Royal. Like Airfix makes, and those are only 600 scale. Airfix makes a Warspite. I don't know how old the Warspite is model, but I don't know how old the Warspite model is, like when it was made, but it either wasn't available on NPC or because I would have picked that fucker up immediately. Like nope, didn't have one, didn't make one. They made the Ajax, which they call the Ajax Destroyer. I don't think I had the Ajax Destroyer. I don't think I had the Ajax Destroyer. Ajax Destroyer. Ajax Light Cruiser. But it was marketed as the Destroyer. As a Destroyer. But it's funny. Two of my favorite World War II ships they didn't make. They didn't make Rodney. They didn't make Rodney, and they didn't make, or they didn't make it at the time. They might make it now. And they didn't make Scharnhorst. Scharnhorst is an incredibly attractive ship. As somebody says, what's the most attractive? One of the most attractive. I mean, there's a lot of really attractive Second World War ships. Scharnhorst is right at the top three. I don't want to list which ones are my favorite because it'd be really difficult to. Scharnhorst had extremely attractive lines on that ship. After they put the Atlantic bow on her, flat bow, no. Okay, put the Atlantic bow on it, really attractive ship. Much better looking than Bismarck. 1960s kit. Yeah. Yeah, Warspite didn't make it at an NPC, or they did, and they just didn't bring it into our store, into the stores that we had. The German destroyers are pretty attractive as well. All of them. All of the German destroyers are pretty attractive. World War II German destroyers. World War I German destroyers, there's some that look like a melted asshole. Those ones that were really big, I think they made them for Russia, and then they're like, we'll keep these. They made 6 of them with a B-110 class. Those are ugly as shit. Short funnels, 3 of them is no. World War II German destroyers. World War II German destroyers are really attractive. World War II British destroyers are really attractive. All of them, I'd say. And the way they're painted are even makes them even more attractive. U.S. has some ugly destroyers. They do. And I'm not talking about the 4-stackers. I'm talking about Bensons. Bensons, just not, they're just not good looking ships. Some Japanese destroyers, not really that attractive either. Same with the Italians. Oh, these are cool. Why the hell they got their guns in 2 turrets, like double 4.7s? Like, yeah. Don't get me wrong, I'll paint ugly shit, but county class cruisers aren't exactly attractive. But I had a lot of NPC stuff, and it was really annoying when you did one when you had the tanks, like they made the reconnaissance set. They made the reconnaissance set. Made the Opal Blitz and the Pack 40. They made the tank carrier, that Scammel tank carrier, but no tank that went with it. Like, why are you giving me a British tank carrier, but you don't make any British tanks to go with it? Well, we make a Centurion. Well, who gives a shit? That's like 1960s. They make a what? They make a Centurion. Well, it's earlier than 60s. They make a Centurion and a Chieftain. Yeah, the Chieftain's like 60s, 70s, and well, back it was a modern tank back then because the Challenger hadn't even come out yet. Like, why don't you guys make any like Crusaders or Valentines or Matildas? Nope. No, Leopard. Who gives a shit about a Leopard? I don't think MPC made a German tank. Now that I think about it, I mean, Airfix did, but they didn't come in as NPC. Only thing they had was the German reconnaissance set, the Opel Blitz truck. I don't think there was any American tanks either. I don't know what it was. Like, hey, let's try doing something. We didn't like this. You know, I don't know what they were. I don't know what they were going for, but Airfix did Scharnhorst, although I never had the kit. Churchill. They didn't make an MPC Churchill, or if they did, I didn't see one. I don't think I don't think I saw one. I mean, Airfix did. Boy, if I'd gotten that Airfix Churchill when I was a youngster, I would have thrown that thing out the window with how many road wheels that thing has. That thing's out of control. Out of control. And speaking of Airfix, I got two more Shermans to build. I got so many of those damn Shermans. So many of those damn Shermans. It builds a nice enough little tank, though. I don't know what the reasoning is that some people do build some things and don't build something else. You know, my normal reaction would be like, if you're going to build something, if you're going to build a tank that's like a Panther, then you're going to build something that a Panther fights. End of story, right? Like, there's no reason to build a Panther and not build a T-34-85 or or Sherman tanks that are post Normandy. There's no reason to do stuff or an M10 tank destroyer or something like that. There'd be no reason to do a Panzer IV and not build a Sherman. It just wouldn't make any sense. No, doesn't make any sense to me to build stuff like that. These model companies. There'll be some model company. Hey, we got Vespid. I think Vespid is what it is. Vespid models are like really detailed, but it's like an orgasm of German tanks and like nothing else. Like we got this late war Panther with the steel wheels, another late war Panther with like radar controlled light. Oh, see in the dark weapons or whatever the hell it's called. I don't know because I don't build those. Those Uber weapons or whatever. But they built like all this like really specialized late German stuff and like nothing for everybody else. I'm like, why would I build like all this German shit? Like not the Russians to go with it, or not the British or Americans or Canadians or anything like that to go with it. No, because they don't sell. I said, well, they don't sell because nobody freaking builds them. Like, at least do some of them. and they're all guilty of doing stuff like that. Tamiya, well, I thought Tamiya was pretty bad. Tamiya makes like four German things for one of anything else, but at least they make some of the other stuff. Like there's some companies like Vespid's one of them. They don't make. I don't think they make anything that's not German, and not like a Wonder Weapon. Wonder Weapon shit that who knows if they had one. If they did, they had like one, and the Russians had like 2,000 of other things. It's like you can make all these super Wonder Weapon things for the Germans. It's still not going to make them win the war. Yeah, that's the one thing. Like, let's say you have this fetish for German shit, right? Because look, the Germans made some pretty cool looking tanks, but so did everybody else, right? I get it. All right, so you want to do all this cool German stuff, all right? Because you think the Germans are cool. The troop quality in these cool German weapons was garbage. Okay, like you can talk about it like what was that? What was that tank ace? Carius. Carius at the end of the war ended up being a commander in Jagd Tigers, right? Like, ooh, Jagd Tiger, freaking 128 millimeter gun, freaking awesome gun, whatever. Yeah, the guys in there were like freaking children. They were like children that were like scared. Like they're not exactly elite troops. Like even if it was a good weapon system that wasn't prone to breakdown and things like that, you still got guys in the crews that are like barely had any training at all, and they're not going to survive. They're not going to survive this battle to get better. So like you have these uber weapons, but they're gonna be crewed by noobs, uber noobs. Kind of like the opposite of Barbarossa. It's like, oh man, you got these T-35s. These are awesome. All these turrets. Yeah, well, they're crewed by people that don't even brush their tooth. They don't even know how to brush a tooth. I was playing some game of War Thunder with uh, with Don the other day, and we were playing. We were working on the Russians, and there's so many Russian aircraft I've never heard of before because they were all destroyed on the freaking ground during Operation Barbarossa. All these like bombers, and they're interesting looking vehicles. There's nothing uninteresting about them, but I just never heard about them. No, I never heard of some cab or yak Ford. Just stuff that was just decimated on the damn ground, like in the first week of the invasion, and they weren't in production, so you never heard about them again. And that's one thing I tell them about. It's like you never hear about some of these weapons, and some of these planes might have been just fine, but the crews just didn't have any experience. But when you're playing a flight simulator, everybody's of the same experience. And what I mean by that is everybody has the potential of being like if you're a good flyer, you're going to fly well on a plane that didn't have a good crew. Now you have some plane like I don't know, what were the Russians had at the beginning of Barbarossa? MiG threes, MiG ones, MiG threes, or whatever. Some of those planes just did horribly. Now the plane did horribly because they got caught with their pants down. They have crews that didn't have much experience, spare parts, etc. All right, now you're in a flight simulator. You know, I'm going to have my ability flying regardless of whether or not I'm in a P-51 or an Italian plane or a Messerschmitt or whatever. So then it kind of evens everybody out. And some of these planes weren't that bad, but they just didn't do well because they were crewed by people that just didn't have any experience. They didn't have any training whatsoever. So just something you just got to take with a grain of salt. I don't know what I'm going to do with these boxes. I don't know what I don't know what I'm going to do with these boxes. They need more like oomph to them. Maybe we can try painting a red X inside one of them and see how it looks. Let me try that. Yeah, let me try the flat red. It looks brighter. Your daughter would be woken up at any time. Just hang out with her for a little bit. I thought she'd be up already. Let's see if we can knock this out before she up and at 'em. She's always an early morning riser, super early, and then just all of a sudden like went to college and just like changed. Even in high school, she was still early morning riser. And let's just do them all. Let's just do the top and see if we can. So I didn't have a really high opinion of like Airfix kits growing up building them. I mean, they're not terrible, but very dated. And then I got a modern Airfix model, and it was goes together spectacularly well. Like I'm like, you sure this is Airfix? Like the Spitfire goes together like really well. But I did take a gander the other day at those models I have to build. Fucking motorcycle. It's gotta be annoying driving around listening to that shit all the time. I think it's a motorcycle, yeah. And the Panzer III from Matchbox has a really, really thin barrel, like really, really thin. I don't know. We got to do something. We got to bring this thing up. But I'm gonna cut this feed off. Go ahead and start my morning doing some other stuff. And I don't know if we'll be back on later today, but we might. If not, we'll see you in a couple mornings from now, so it won't be tomorrow morning. All right, folks. Thanks for stopping by. See you guys on the next one. Bye bye.